You can do it too. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can do it too. Come along and draw with me. Pads and pencils, a very good start. So when you draw with your heart. You draw with your heart, 'cause you can do it too. You can do it too. You can do it too.
Hi everybody, my name is Lydia Forte-Santiago and I'm here on my 8th lesson of Ucandoit2. And we have the little kettle that I did in the last lesson and we did it in black and white. But today we're going to color it in and we're going to kind of punch it out in all these pretty little colors. As a matter of fact, this little kettle reminds me of a little genie. Like if you would rub it, it would make a wish. And of course, this is how we're going to start. We did the sketch, we did it in black and white because like I said, the drawing was very crucial and important. Now what we're going to do is we are going to just darken the background. We're going to darken the background just to punch this out a little bit. We're going to get this dark. Because I never really did a background before, but I think with these colors and all these pretty colors, the background would really punch this out. So that's what we're going to aim for. We're going to make this. We're going to go around it just to add a little bit of instead of just a stark white, we want to just go around the little tea kettle. When I start doing a drawing, of course, or a painting, I always start with the drawing first. The drawing is always first. And then after I draw it in, if I'm going to paint it, I spray it so this won't smear with the paint, the charcoal. And then after it dries, then I start my painting. That's how it's done. So you could kind of get an idea. If some of you, I'm working with the medium pastel. Some of you might like to work with paints, oil, or some with acrylic. So you could do it. You could do this actually in all different mediums, or even some might even want to do it in watercolor. So you have to find the medium of your choice and what you like to work with best, and use that medium. So this is just to put a little background in here, and I think the reason I chose this little tea kettle is because they remind me of a little genie with that little spout coming out like that. It's kind of cute. I really liked it. So we just want to get some form of background here so it's not so stark. I remember what I said, and I said that you always kind of like punch in the darks. So let's darken this up. See, now you see, now I kind of like sharpen this up because now I'm kind of sure. So I sharpen this up a little bit. First you remember what I said, always go light, always take your time, always until you're sure. Once you're sure that you see it really looks good to you. Because sometimes I kind of draw it over and over again. I draw things more than once because I want to get them right. There, that's a little, and then right here where the spout is, you want to bring that out. So we're going to kind of like there. See the difference just by darkening that, how we punch that out. And then right here, we do the same thing. We just kind of darken it right there. And look at, just sharpen those lines. And then you can kind of like spread it out. And then There. And this by the way, folks, this is what I'm working with now. This is very easy because this is like vine charcoal. And vine is soft and it's very just good to work with. Then right here we have the little handle. So we kind of want to punch that out. So let's kind of do this too over there. There. You want to just bring that out. Because you want to punch this little kettle out. You want to be able to see this. And it's really pretty. And just kind of like soften it up. And remember what I said about the pressure? You know, in some instances, you kind of add pressure. And then in other instances, you kind of lighten the pressure. And right where the table is, we could kind of like bring this out. So, just so we could bring that out a little bit. It looks pretty. You want to make things look pretty. There you go. Over here, I just went a little bit too far back, so I'll just erase that a little bit. There. That looks good. There you go. There you go. That's the table back. This is just so you could see it because probably on your screen set, if it's not punchy like this, it's probably a little bit diffused. I want you to see what I'm doing. There's always a little, if we look here, you could see some shadows here. This light is coming right from here, so it's kind of hitting the top. And it's throwing some shadows this way too. So we add that in. It looks really pretty. Now that looks already a little nice. And then right here, it's the little lid. The little lid, so we can kind of like draw that in a little bit. Just kind of bring it out a little bit like that. There. See, so now at least you could see it a little clearer. Because what happens is if it's, the lightness is, when I draw a light is just to make myself be sure of what I'm doing and to capture it right. But once it's captured, then you could come in, you know, there. Look how pretty that looks. Now, doesn't that look like a little genie you could rub and make a wish? There. There you go. Turn it around. There. Now that looks cute. Pretty. Mm-hmm. And if you make a little line that, a little mistake there, I think I did, you just go over it and you get it right. Okay. And here's the little kettle, so let's just go over this. So the purpose of this is that when I start putting those sharp colors, being that it's against the black, they're gonna punch out. If I put them against the white, there's no contrast. So like I'm trying to build contrast here. That's how, even in the paintings, when I did that young girl with the dog, and even the John Wayne, the background is dark, and you see how I painted that. And the reason I painted that is because I want the flesh tone to pop. I want the little thing around his neck to pop. I want that. So I darken it. So this way, all this can pop out. Because sometimes if I left it on a different white or something, it doesn't show. It doesn't come out as much. And you want to make it really like intense. Like it had a little drama. You know, it's always nice when it has a little drama. You want to make it a little dramatic. Now this already has a little thing. Now right over here, this table, I'm gonna just bring this down like this. This is just drag it, and back, like that. Just so it looks like a little finished table at least. There, bring this. That's it. Now that's cute. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to start with the color. So we're going to look at this color here, and I'm going to kind of put it over against this to see. It's like a dark shade. So we're going to build up with the dark. So I'm going to start this color. And I'm going to bring it around. And then I'm going to see where it's dark. And I'm looking over here at the kettle. Always look. Go back like this. Even with the portraits, I go back. I look back. You always kind of like back and forth. You know, this way you keep putting it into proper perspective. Otherwise, you get a little bit lost. You want to get it right. And then wherever there's darks, it's easy to punch in the darks first. That's always... That's so soft that it broke on me, but that's okay. There. This is so soft, this pastel. And the reason they make it like this, I'll tell you why, is because when you start blending, it's very easy to blend. So this is why it's easy. Now I just go like this, and I start blending it. It's almost like finger painting, but it's fun. Of course, you could never do this with paint. It's only with pastel because it's very easy, and you kind of need it to blend. The reason you got to look back and forth is because you're constantly studying this. You know, you have to constantly study it, especially when it has so many little shapes. Here's another thing, and we can start putting some color. This color. And coloring it's really you're really doing what you did before, except now you're just doing it in color. So coloring is not that difficult, you know. There, you want to make it come out. So you. Now, if I was doing this with paint, I would be doing it with, like I said before to you, thin on thin. That means I would layer the paint, and I would let the paint dry. Like if you were doing the same thing with acrylic, you would do it thin on thin too. You would follow the same procedure as oil. You would color it, you would let it dry, and acrylic dries real fast if some people like working with acrylic, and then you go over it. But when you're working with pastel, it's a chalk, so you do it a little different. And this is the yellow. That little handle here has a kind of pretty sort of different color. It's more like gold, which you put in, and you just punch out this. Yeah. Pretend it's like a little genie, and it's saying, "You can do it too. You can do it too." That's what it reminds me of, a little, tiny little genie. You gotta look where these colors are, and then just kind of put them in. Put a little dark, a little dark here. Sometimes if you just punch things out, you like lay them in like that. It's sort of like an optical illusion. You could kind of almost, while the spectator looks, they could kind of feel that it's there. There. This is color. You have to really get into it, because sometimes with this pastel, this is canson paper, by the way. I believe I mentioned it before. You have to have the proper tools. If you're working with pastel, the canson paper has a little bit of a grain. So when you do this, it kind of sinks in a little bit, you know. So like certain papers, you wouldn't be able to do it on like a regular paper. You have to have the right paper so it can kind of seep in. And this sure has a lot of, I did this little tea kettle before, but I did it with paint. With paint, you layer. See how now my strokes are changing? I have to change the strokes. Sometimes you have to. There's also little ways to get this to punch out. And right in here, I noticed there's just a little bit of dark, so you gotta bring that out too. Yeah, this is a little bit. And always tell yourself as you're drawing and you're painting and you could do it too. It starts taking its shape the more you reinstate it, you know. As you keep on reinstating this, the more it'll take its shape of its own, you know. It just takes a little bit of time. You know, you could put this, and this could be lighter. And we have our little gum eraser to just take this little. try to keep the paper clean, because pastel is soft and it can get a little messy at times. So you have to kind of like watch for that. Now again, I'm reinstating. See, I came back. I came back to reinstate this. And now I'm back here to reinstate that. And now I'm over here to reinstate this. You know. And now I got to come under here, the lid, to reinstate that. See, I'm not doing anything different. I'm just doing it over again. But you know, with one pass, it doesn't work. You have to have more than one pass. That's the trick. You have to have a couple of passes. You know, one pass doesn't do it. But with this, it's softer, and I'm doing it in one shot. Let's punch something out here. Now I'm again reinstating. And I go back and back. And you don't really let this go. You can't let it go so easy. If you let it go, it's not gonna happen. You have to keep on at it, stay with it, you know. And always remember, if I could do it, you could do it. You could do it too. And always say to yourself that, you know, you could do it too. It's easy. And it really is fun. And you have to love it. Yeah, art is a passion. There's no way about it. It's a passion. I mean, once you get hooked with this, I mean, you even want to go outdoors and paint. Look at scenes at brooks and rivers and start painting. That's what the old masters did. Oh, by the way, and another thing that's good to do too, if you guys have some free time, you go to the museum and you check in and you look at the old masters and you study their artwork. That's what I do. I go to the museum and I study. And on one occasion, I went actually to copy a Rembrandt, and I stood there and I copied a Rembrandt. And if you go at Facebook, Lydia Forte-Santiago on Facebook, you will see me painting at the Met. If you go to photo albums, and you'll see me doing a Rembrandt, which was a lot of fun to do. It was such an honor. I felt so elated standing in the Rembrandt room with all those beautiful paintings. So you see how slow and kind of careful, and I'm taking time with it, you know. It's like you never rush it. You kind of take your time, you look at it. Here's make a little smoke coming up here from the little, I'll call it my little genie kettle. There, so it looks pretty. And it has a nice little pretty shape to it. And then we could kind of clean this out here like that. And this little light back there. There's some lights there. And you kind of always try to keep your work clean. And do different things, you know. Like we started with an apple, a pear, you know. And now I did the tea kettle. You try different objects and different things, because this particular thing has so many little shapes. You have a shape of the lid, you have a shape of the roundness, you have a shape of the handle. So we're really working with a lot of little forms and the little shapes here. You know, it's not just one little shape, you know. So that's really important. So you can get at it. Now we can kind of come back to this, and again I reinstate. See how I keep on reinstating this? Then right here, there's like a little highlight there. There. It's a little coppery highlight there. Just change the color there. And I'll take some light. Has like a real pretty glow. And always, if you need any suggestions, or you could email me too, Forte-Santiago.com, and send me some things, tips, or something that you might have, ideas, something you might want to see on the show, you know. Any suggestions would help. So now it's kind of taking its own little form, this little tea kettle. There you go. We want to make this table more solid. That looks good. That looks pretty good there. Now we look at it. You have to look back, and you got to go back and forth and look at it to see that everything is coming out right. You study it. So you can do it too. Get a little object around the house, something that you like, a little, you know, a prop, something you really enjoy doing it, and then try it. Because, you know, you could do it too. It's not difficult. And you know something? It's very enjoyable, and it's a lot of fun, and you can spend a lot of time doing this. I mean, I could do a painting and spend hours. So remember, you can do it too.
You can do it too. Easy as 1, 2, 3. You can do it too. Come along and draw with me. Pads and pencils, a very good start. So when you draw with your heart. You draw with your heart, 'cause you can do it too.